So, you want to get better with Invisible Woman? Well, this is the video for you. Going to be going over her basic kit and then moving on to the advanced tips so you can get the maximum amount of value with her. Before this video starts, I just want to thank all the people who've been supporting my channel. I've gotten to around 50 subscribers and my video on Penny Parker just hit 3K, so yeah, I really appreciate everyone who's watched my videos, subscribed to my channel. There's only more content coming from here on out, so hope you guys enjoy. If you know everything there is to know about Invisible Woman's kit, just go ahead and skip to this timestamp and you'll head on right to the advanced tips. Starting off with Orb Projection. This is her primary fire. It deals 20 damage to enemies and will also heal 40 healing to allies. Now this is an interesting primary fire. When you use it, it will shoot out 30 meters and then immediately start flying back at the same velocity, being 120 meters per second, towards you. You have an ammo count of 10 and a pretty fast reload speed. Moving on to her next ability, Guardian Shield. This is a shield you can put in front of your ally that will absorb up to 300 damage and heal them for 50 healing a second. Now this shield doesn't move with them, and if it is destroyed, it will be on a 60-second cooldown. The next ability we have is Psionic Vortex. This is a little ball/bubble you throw out that will create an area of effect that will slow enemies inside of it the closer they are, and deal 35 damage per second. The next ability we have is Force Physics. This is an interesting ability. So you press the button you have the ability bound to, and then both of your hands will pop up, giving you two different options. You can either press primary fire to push enemies away 12 meters, or you can press alternate fire to pull enemies closer by 7 meters. This ability also does 55 damage. Next we have two abilities, being Covert Advance and Veiled Step. Now after you haven't used an ability or been damaged for a little while, you immediately turn invisible, healing yourself for 20 healing a second. You can also proc your invisibility by using your double jump, called Veiled Step. When it's off cooldown, being 6 seconds, you can double jump, immediately proccing that invisibility and healing yourself for 20 healing a second. Her final ability is Invisible Boundary. This is her ultimate that places a giant cylinder on the map, healing all allies in the field for 165 healing per second, and slowing all enemies in the field as well. Now, an additional thing it does is everyone inside of the field will be invisible. If you're Sue Storm, you can see your allies and enemies in the field. If you're an enemy though, you will see slight after images of your allies in the field after an enemy Sue Storm has cast her ultimate. Now we'll be moving on to the advanced tips portion of the video. We'll go over good matchups, how and where to play her, bad matchups, and overall just things you should think about when playing Sue Storm. One of the first tips I would give is about positioning. One of the most important parts about most strategists in this game is positioning. Now, since your primary fire is your main source of healing and really your only source of healing when your Guardian Shield breaks and you don't have your ultimate up, you're going to want to be positioned behind your team and try and get them in a straight line, or angle yourself to where you can shoot through all of your teammates at once. If you're not hitting multiple teammates with your heals in a big team fight, then you're not really doing your job as Invisible Woman. Now, if you're just focusing on keeping one person up because it's just you and them, or they've kind of veered away from the rest of the team, usually I'd use my Guardian Shield at that point just to try and keep the main amount of my heals going when my whole team is fighting the enemy. Your best escape option is your double jump, so don't just be spamming it, don't just be using it whenever you can. It's your really only way of self-preservation besides your force push, but really most dive characters can just jump right back onto you, so you're going to want to be careful using that ability just whenever you can, because I know most people just have a tendency to jump around. Be careful with Sue Storm. That double jump is a lifesaver, literally. If you don't have it in some situations, you're just dead. So track who's attacking you, track what abilities they have, and then that will tend to inform when it is best to use your double jump. We've been talking a lot about her strengths, but let's get into some of her weaknesses. Definitely dive characters, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk, Venom, Black Panther, Captain America in quotation marks, Iron Fist. All of these characters are going to do fairly well against you if you don't have your double jump on cooldown, but if it is off cooldown, you can just jump out of there. And really there's no way they're going to be able to find you unless you position poorly, or you just, jump into a poor position, or there's multiple people on you with AoE abilities that can kind of sniff you out and search for you. Those characters do tend to do really well, but if your team has good peel and you are a good Sue Storm player, it shouldn't really be a problem. That's just kind of when you tend to be dying a lot, those are the characters that are the ones that tend to be killing you. And flying characters. Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Storm. The characters that are in permaflight mode, I don't know if Scarlet Witch is in permaflight, but the characters that have permaflight are really, really hard. Similar in my Loki video, I talked about this. Since your heals only have a 30-meter range, they go out 30 meters and then immediately fly back out 30 meters, it is really hard to put consistent heals on them. So if you do have an Iron Man or a Storm on your team, try and save your Guardian Shield for them, because they'll typically be flying away super fast, and you can just throw out that shield to give them a quick burst of healing, maybe hit them once with your actual primary fire, and then when they go to re-engage the fight, throw that shield back on them again so they have a little barrier that they can, kind of protect themselves with and continue to poke. I'd say with her other abilities, your push and pull is very, very good utility. There have been numerous times where I've been able to pull an enemy into my team and my whole team will just destroy them, or one of my teammates is getting dove and I'm able to push their entire team away, or I've even pushed a Strange away in his ult to deny him more people and actually deny me from being in the ult, so I was able to continue healing through his ultimate. So that push and pull is really, really effective, especially if you combined it with your Psionic Vortex, that dome ability that does damage over time. You can push enemies into it, pull enemies back into it if they're running away. It slows them. It does 35 damage a second, pretty decent dot damage. So those abilities tend to work pretty well with each other. I'd just say kind of use them in tandem, or constantly be using your Force Vortex off cooldown, but your push and pull really should be used to keep the enemy team away or pull someone in who is really, really, really out of position. Her ultimate, it's very similar to kind of a Luna Snow ult, in the fact that your team's just not going to die while they're sitting inside of it unless they get hit with an Iron Man ult, something that does so much upfront damage, i.e. 1,000, that they literally can't do anything in the meantime. They take so much damage that it's more than their health bar, and they cannot out heal it. So, or the damage that's being done is more than their health bar, therefore there's nothing to heal, right? Like, for instance, Sue Storm has 275 HP. If she takes 1,000 damage, she's already at 0 before she gets a chance to be healed. So insta-kill ults like Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, just big bursts of energy that do so much damage, it's hard for you to live. Those are the only things that really counter your ultimate. So just be careful, be watchful, but it's a really, really good defensive ult. If an Iron Fist, Spider-Man, any character that has a large AoE ult that doesn't do a bunch of damage, Star-Lord specifically. If you don't like Legendary, just pop this ult and he literally can't see your team unless he walks inside your ult, which at that point he's at a huge disadvantage. So those ults are really, really weak against her ult, but you also can use it to advance since it creates a giant field of invisibility and healing. Numerous times it's been overtime or we're about to capture a point and I'll just throw my ult right on point. I won't save it for another one of their ults, because if we can pick them off and cap a point before they even get a chance to, the enemy gets a chance to like build their ults or even use them, it's game over. Now here's the interesting thing with Invisible Woman. If you are fans of basketball like I am, you've definitely heard of the term a triple-double. Now, for those who don't know, this means 3 stats that you have double digits in, i.e. points, assists, rebounds, stuff like that. Invisible Woman is definitely a kind of triple quintuple character. If you're not in competitive games, especially on like Convoy, where it's technically 2 games in 1, if you don't have quintuple in all 3 stats being damage, blocked, healing, and damage, you're not playing the character right. There have been numerous games where I've gotten 20, 30, and 30k games, or 30, 20, and 20, 30, 20, and 30k games, where I'm just putting out insane numbers because my heals hit my entire team. My ult can protect them and absorb so much damage. My Guardian Shield can also absorb 300 damage every 6 seconds it's up. And while I'm healing my team, I'm also throwing out my Psionic Field, dealing damage over time, hitting them with my primary fire that's also healing my allies. So really it's just, she's a character that can do everything. She might get nerfed soon, although I don't really think she needs to. She's good at everything, but not really in an oppressive way. Like, if you dive her, she can die if she doesn't have resources, so keep that in mind. You should be doing everything in all of the stats in your Invisible Woman games. Speaking of her Guardian Shield, I found the best way to use it is on characters who are coming back from a dive, flying characters like I said before, or your tanks. So if you're playing with a Strange, Magneto, or really any tank, but specifically those, when people see their shields pop, they tend to be more aggressive. They tend to dive on them more because their shields are one of the biggest kind of points of their durability. Sure, they have a lot of health, but think about it. Strange has like 700 health. Think of his shield like an additional health bar. So 700 plus 800 is 1500 health. That's more than Hulk in his ult that Strange just has passively most of the time. So when you see a Strange shield or a Magneto shield go down, definitely throw your Strategist shield on them, maybe after they've taken a little bit of damage, just so they get that burst of healing, and it will allow them to regen their own shield. You could even do it, you know, if they're half health but they still have their shield, throw your shield in front of them so they're getting that extra healing and kind of saving some of their shield health. Overall, I'd say Invisible Woman is a do-it-all character. You can deal pretty decent damage, destabilize enemies by pulling them into your team or pushing them away from a teammate who's about to die, heal your entire team fairly well, and also protect them with your Guardian Shield and your ultimate. Overall, I personally think she is one of the best, if not the best support in the game right now. Her weaknesses against flyers and dive characters kind of balance that out a little bit, but if you're running with a really good rush team comp, like Strange, Hulk, Iron Man, I mean, you're going to get the job done every single time if you know what you're doing, and of course if they know what they're doing. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Make sure and go watch my other guides if you haven't, if you want to learn more about Penny, Loki, and Iron Man. But yeah, I've been Choso's dad. Have a good one.